is UX421, and my candidate number is 2466. I'm Wyatt Warren, presenting at Seabreeze High School, and this presentation is on invasive species. What is an invasive species? An invasive species is an organism that causes ecological or economic harm in a certain area. Any species that is not native to a general area will most likely become an invasive species. Group perspectives. One group member has done cultural, how exotic pets become invasive species and affect the people around them. I'm doing the economic perspective and how invasive species are costly to the economy. And the last group member is doing environmental, how invasive species affect the environment. The effects of invasive species. Some of the effects of invasive species are property damage, reduced crop yield, loss of natural species, and reducing soil contents. How invasive species spread. So when invasive species first get introduced, as time goes on, they slowly get detected and the area they infest slowly increases. By the time public awareness is generally arises, eradication is very unlikely and it has been a fair amount of time. By the time anything is done, local control is the only thing that can really be done. But how can we stop this is a good question. Some of the examples of invasive species in Florida are the lionfish, top right, which is native to native to the tropical waters of the South Pacific and Indian Oceans. And it came over in the 1980s from release or escape from marine aquariums. The green iguana, top left, is native to Central and South America, where it was brought over in the 60s on Cuban cargo ships transporting goods. The cane toad, bottom right, is native to Central and South America as well. It came over during the 20s and 30s to counter agricultural pests and sugarcane. The Burmese python, bottom left, is native to Asia and came over during the exotic pet boom. Invasive species economic impact. Some of these may include loss of commercial fishing, loss in local tourism, millions in state spending, structural damage, and outgrowing native species. All of these affect the local economy of areas. The global effects or global examples of invasive species. Invasive species also affect areas around the world besides Florida. Some of the global invasive species shared between Florida and the rest of the world are lionfish, cane toads, and Burmese pythons. All of these have a great impact in other areas as invasive species. Problems with these shared invasive species. Lionfish are known to eat grouper, snapper, parrotfish, coral, shrimp, and other types of bottom feeders, which are all well known for bringing tourism to reefs. Because of these loss in fish, tourism can decrease. Also, because of the loss of fish, commercial fishing can be brought down because there's not any commercial fish left. These lionfish are also very poisonous to humans with their very intensely poisonous spines. Cane toads. Cane toads can bring in a loss in crop yield by eating the local population of honeybees and other insects known for increasing crop yield. They can also lead to water treatment facilities needing to be protected better from cane toads, because these cane toads can get into the water for cities and completely ruin it with the diseases they have and by dying in them. The Burmese python. The Burmese python can lead to a loss in tourism by eating endangered species that bring in tourism. Some of the tourists are like black panthers or panthers and other animals such as. They can also attack humans if they get too close, leading to human health issues. A solution. Some of the solutions to these animals could be bounty hunters and education of the population. About bounty hunters. Bounty hunters are freelance, which means they are not under the government, but they're being paid by the government. They are paid by pound or animal. When they're paid by pound, the amount of animal they bring in is how they get paid, not how many animals they get. So if you get 5 pounds of lionfish, that's how much you'll be paid for. But if they're paid by animal, that is how, if they get 5 lionfish, they'll be paid per lionfish. So they can also be very effective because of these two factors, because they're not paid hourly and they're paid off of how much they get. So if they don't get anything, then they don't get paid anything, making them very effective. Education. Another good way to counter these invasive species is public awareness. By teaching people about the local populations, about the dangers of invasive species, it can bring a great amount of influence to the surrounding areas and bring people to try and counter these species before eradication is unlikely. Teaching kids about the dangers is also another very good way. By teaching the next generation about the problems with these endangered species, they stop them for the next generation. In conclusion, invasive species cause many economic problems such as reduced crop yield, invasion of natural species, human health issues, or commercial fishing issues, and loss in tourism. These can be solved by bounty hunters and other forms of public education, which can show light on the problems with these shared invasive species.